a rss.xml file, the type needed to for the iTunes store to host your podcast listing in their directory. Okay, the first thing you need to do is create a site in iWeb. It's really easy. It will only take a few minutes to build, and you could use the site as your main blog or any other number of things. But if you just want it to use it to host your podcast, that's not a problem. It doesn't have to be anything more than an info page for iTunes to get the information it needs. The information on these pages, we're going to create a pointers for the iTunes Store podcast directory to follow to find stuff for descriptions and artwork, etc. For the podcast listing when it's in the iTunes Store. So go to iWeb. It comes free of all Macs that have been sold in the past 3-4 years as part of the iLife package. Can be found in your applications folder. The first thing it will ask you is to choose a template for your web page. There's loads of different types on the left hand side, but you get 8 options on this right hand side. I'm just going to go for the basic white right now, and I'm going to choose a podcast. I'm not doing a full website here, I'm just making the podcast page. Right. You had a choice of pages to use there, and this is a key point of the process. In order for it to be the correct file made by iWeb, you have to select the podcast page. The reason why is because that's how you create the rss.xml file. Without it, I don't think it works without it. You have to use this podcast page. Okay, straight away creates a template page with a picture and audio placeholder, as you can see there. First thing you need to know is do not delete anything off this page. You'll be dragging media over these bits of media and writing text over the bits of text. You don't need to drag yours in a separate place. If you do that, all you're going to do is prevent the correct rss.xml file from being written. So for instance, I want to put my audio on first. Put the audio in. And it's deleted the image because there's no image associated with that audio either. Although you could add it in iTunes, but I find it's easy to do it like this. Okay, my podcast is called How to Make a Podcast, so there we go. That's in the correct place, that's all nice. That'll play. Okay, so there we go. Alright. Here is the title of your episode, and by the way, we're at the episode level right now. This is the title of your episode here. You need to change this, and if you look up here at your entries, this way you can add entries or delete entries. You can't do it from right clicking over here. Within the podcast page you have to do the entries from here, and this is another reason why you have to choose the podcast option, because each time you add an entry and you publish it, it adds another item enclosure into the rss.xml file, which tells iTunes a new episode has been created. So the title of the episode is How to Make a Podcast. Choose the date of when it's going to be published. This is going to be published in March the 10th, say. So, okay, if you look up here, you can now see it's changed to March the 10th, the date, and the title was changed as I've changed it there. Okay, now underneath you've got the part, this bit here, this foreign writing, is where the description of your podcast is going to go. So, podcast episode detailing how to upload a podcast to your server and get it listed in iTunes. Cool. So if we go to the top level on this left hand side here, it shows you your site. Go to the top level, which is the main podcast page. You can see that episode has come up now here. Before it would have shown the other picture of the guy holding the shell here and the other audio and the other foreign writing here. But this is the episode level, which you can get to from clicking on entries. So you can add entry, etc. And this is the main podcast area. Now, when you go into iTunes and you look at a podcast, you have the main podcast series, which will be the logo. Imagine it's from a record label, it would be a logo, and then the title of the main podcast series, for instance, Drum Code, and it's got the Drum Code logo, and it's got a description about it, like monthly podcasts from Drum Code, and then when you click on the episode, that's when you get this information, which is the image for the episode, you know, the media, and the description for the episode. When you're actually, the bit before, when you're looking at this series, this is where you alter that information. So the name of my podcast series is going to be How to Do It on the Web. Cool. And then I want to drag my own image on there, straight in there, and edit the mask as well. Make sure that's fitting correctly. That's it. That's up. Cool. So now, and I'll change, make my description, podcast series allows cool. So that is it. That is actually it. That's all you need to do from iWeb. The next part of the process is you have to publish this site you've now created onto a server somewhere for iTunes to look to see that your podcast is there. And you also, when you do this, it gives your onto the server, it sends your media there, all these pages that you've just created, all this information, the correct file for iTunes to look for, everything. So for now, that's it. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to configure iWeb to upload straight to your server using FTP, File Transfer Protocol. And I'm also going to make a video showing how to do it on FileZilla, but it's basically the same process. But for now, that's it. I hope this is informative. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Please subscribe to my channel. If you like the video, click like and share. Thank you. See you later.